We're here with Alexander Rossi. He chose to jump out of the car. I know there's a big checklist to go through this practice session, first and only practice session of the weekend if you combine the two today with the Highline practice. But what is number one and maybe number two on that checklist?
I don't know if there's one or two things like that I can choose, you know. So what we're trying to do usually here after qualifying, you have another practice that you can kind of prep for the race, but that's not the case this weekend. So you're trying to get in some Q sims, you're trying to get in a longish run to see what this new right side tire compound does. You're trying to understand what the downforce difference is from the test. You're trying to understand the ambient difference from the test, and then verify any kind of changes that you made based on the test. So it's a lot to do in 90 minutes, but it's kind of the same thing for everyone. I think the biggest question mark is really just what does this new downforce limitation do to the overall kind of performance of the car, and then are the right side tires holding up as expected?
How big of a role does communication play on a weekend like this when you have such limited time to get with it and then not race once but twice?
Yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of having, you know, three cars in terms of you can break it up a little bit, but ultimately, like, all three cars have to go through the same program. So, you know, it's a really good group, and, you know, Nolan's got up to speed right away, and Pato and I obviously have a very good relationship. So I don't think that'll be an issue for us. It's just really maximizing this session as much as you can, and when do you do the Q sim to have relatively clean air, and how much of a long run do you do? How good is the Highline going to be? Like, these are all things we're still trying to figure out.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Alexander Rossi. Thanks, guys. I'm here with Angela Cole, and an absolute ray of sunshine here down on pit lane. Performance coach for Marcus Armstrong. The physicality of this race is so tough. Going from night race, you turn around, you're racing again in the daytime. What does the physical aspect and performance aspect from you look like in the coaching role?
Well, I guess we do all the hard work coming into the race. We've obviously done the training. It's a really physical track, so a lot of high weights. But when we're here, it's actually all about recovery and eliminating the heat factor. So we wear the ice vest, we've got ice baths, a lot of hydration after the race, high protein foods, protein shakes, and a lot of sleep if we can.
You just told me this is your first oval. You've been all over the world. You've seen racetracks. You come. This is your very first oval here at Iowa Speedway. What are your thoughts so far?
It's crazy. Like, you can see the camber and the speeds that they're going at. Like, it's just a whole different, I guess, challenge in terms of the driving. Marcus was obviously in the Indy 500, but we had the engine failure in the first 6 laps, so we didn't actually experience that. So yeah, we'll see how we go this weekend. I'm really excited.
And Marcus Armstrong, the first to say that Angela has been such a huge help this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With just above 9 minutes left to go, Graham Rahal's not going to get undressed because there's a long practice session after that. But that was just a little taste of it up on the Highline. What was that session like for you, and what did you learn?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be there for sure. This helped tremendously. Not only to go there, but just to give everybody confidence of where you can run. It's quite a bit less grip than we tested anyway, because the track temp's like 30 degrees hotter. You know, so it's going to be a different ball game today than it was then. So we'll see how it goes, but this helps tremendously. But now the key is you got an hour and a half left to practice. People got to keep using it. You can't give up now because you've done your 30 minutes or your 15 each. You've got to keep using it so that tomorrow it stays in. But I think that they will. So you'll see some qual sims and stuff early in practice, and then I'll bet you'll start to see some guys try again.
With Hy-Vee being the title sponsor of this race, the sponsor of the 45, in depth with the team, how big of a weekend is this for the team?
I mean, you know, everybody sees it. You know, they're just a tremendous partner. What they've done here has changed the world of promotion of a race, and you know, it's great to see the crowds up 20+% on both days, Saturday and Sunday, for this weekend. And you know, I think people are really starting to look forward to this and kind of checkmark this as a bucket list weekend to be at every year for IndyCar. But we couldn't be more grateful to Hy-Vee, and I'm proud to have played a small part in that, in the development of it. Started back here in 2020, finished on the podium in the Hy-Vee car, and you know, hopefully they'll be in the sport for many, many years to come.
my takeaways from that, you can't give up on the top line, and Hy-Vee has done a wonderful job. I agree with both. Thank you, Graham.
Oh, he's driven. He has raced here. I watched you race at the Iowa Speedway.
I've crashed here, and it does not feel good.
Who hasn't, Dylan? Yeah. Who hasn't? It's fine.
Well, we found Scott McLaughlin down here who ends this Highline session in fourth. As you said, time's not really important. The thing I do want to talk to you about, your fast lap was 2 laps from the end of your 44-lap run. So is that just confidence building? Is that the track getting better? Combination of both? What is that?
No, I just ran the low line like a little bit. I just wanted to see where the car was at. But like, ultimately there was an awesome run. Credit to IndyCar for actually just running that session, making us go to the outside and building that line. Hopefully it stays in because it's definitely usable. I passed Lundgaard around the outside of the outside, so it's a cool feeling when you're passing cars around the outside in an IndyCar, and if we can get that groove going, that's going to be big for this race, like it always has been.
We know that obviously the surface feel is different; it's smoother up there compared to years past, but the actual grip of the racetrack itself, what's the biggest difference you notice there in that part?
Yeah, it's actually like a smoothness, and able to run that lane and be comfortable with it, and where you can actually really throw it in and trust that the car sticks and the bumps. Obviously, you got to be wary of like the older pavement right up top, but ultimately, I think the car was good and hopefully for the race it bodes well, and I think it will. I think, like I said, full credit to IndyCar for making this happen. Hy-Vee are big supporters of this race, and hopefully we can have a good run.
So now we go to the real practice, and there's more new, different tires than what you guys just ran. We talked about the weight difference with the downforce and everything else in the hybrid. So what is goal kind of number one for this hour-and-a-half session of just trying to get not only your qualifying car dialed in, but the race car dialed in too?
Well, yeah, we'll do a little run at the start, just feeling out our quali car and just seeing where we're at, and then ultimately, yeah, it's our only practice of the weekend, and then it's into double header. So, and then I'm not back in the car till qualifying tomorrow, so got to really tighten those belts and have a crack here and just see where we're at. But yeah, it's a very important session. Double header, so big points on offer, and it's important that we get the XPEL Chevy out the front.
Going to be busy for everybody down here. Scott McLaughlin, we were watching on the replay. It seemed like it stepped out really early in the corner on you. Is that what it felt like, and did that surprise you, catch you off guard?
Yeah, it did. Very early, kind of soon as I turned in, the rear came around, which, yeah, it's really strange. We did the whole test here, and we had 0 rear insecurity, and we did the Highline practice, and the car felt great. I was super comfortable, and yeah, they came a bit out of nowhere, so really frustrating.
So obviously the challenge now is that presumably the next time you be in the car is tomorrow for qualifying. What will be the biggest challenge or difficulty of just jumping back into it and kind of figuring out where you need to be on the racetrack?
I mean, we missed all practice. This was the first run. I only did a couple of laps. Car felt good on the Highline, but yeah, it's a massive setback. So sorry for the 28 guys. They done a good job. So we're definitely gonna have to fight from there, but. Anything can happen on this track, so we're going to come back strong tomorrow.
And he's right about that. You can pass here, we know that for sure, but not the way they wanted to start the weekend for Ericsson. Let's check in with Graham Rahal here. We're chatting about the work you see behind Graham here that they're doing to the 15 car. So they got the seat insert out. What issue are you guys battling right now?
Yeah, it looks like one of the logger boxes has gone bad for the electronics, and unfortunately it affects a lot of things, so it wasn't letting me regen on track. Not a cause of the hybrid, but other thing. That was one of the side effects. Couldn't get any regeneration, and then a lot of the switches were starting to go out, sensors were going out, so unfortunately we're going to have to change that. It takes a little bit of time, but I mean, we're competitive, it seems. Very light on downforce. I think the swing that maybe IndyCar made is a little too far, so we'll see, but it's very, very different track, very different, to drive than when we were here at the test.
So what does that lack of downforce feel like? Explain kind of maybe what the sensation is.
Yeah, the car just feels like it's on top of the surface a lot more. When you go into the corners, I think what happened to Marcus by loss on corner entry, the seams have a much greater effect on you, and with the new pavement, particularly if you look at the seam down in turn 1 and 2, there's a lot of sealer there, and on the leading edge of that pavement transition, and so you feel that in the car a lot, and it moves a lot. So we're just, everybody's struggling with that a little bit, I think, but we've got to get our car a little better there, and then maybe we can attack more. It's a whole different ball of wax, though, from when we tested. So I'm sure for a lot of people, there's a lot of new things to consider.
And I know we're only about halfway through this session right now, but I mean, has the track changed pretty considerably from the start of the day to now, and do you expect it to continue?
It doesn't feel like it, really, which I'm surprised. it's very hard to see marbling out there. If there's marbles out there, it's very difficult to see, but it certainly feels like there's less in the test. So the right side compound they brought is obviously harder, but it seems to be doing its job so far. But that compounded with the downforce level change, it's quite a big swing.
All right, a lot to wrap your head around. Thanks, Graham. Good info, though. I'll hopefully be able to get the 15 back out here in just a little while.
Said the word consistent, because he's been consistently in the top 5 all day long. Currently sits in that 4th position here with Ricardo Juncos. You have to be happy with what you're seeing, but what are you learning as well?
Yeah, it's pretty happy so far, and we try in balance. We try to see how much we can extend the tire life. Now we are in the 2nd set. We did a quali sim, but we was on traffic. It's hard, in the short oval like this, but pretty happy with the balance. Now we're going to try if we can run another 20-30 laps and see what happens on the tire degradation. I think the track is still pretty green, but maybe grips up with the Indy next and no more Indy cars and during the race time. So we'll see.
Splitting this session into kind of 2 groups. They just did their race run. They're going to switch to qualifying run. We'll see what he can do. Thanks, Ricardo. I sure am. You got race running in. You got 1 qualifying run in. You got some pit stop practice, and you ended 7th on the charts. What did you learn, and do you consider that a successful practice?
Yes, I'm really happy, honestly, with the day. I think we are really fast, especially really fast on wheel run, but more on the pace. So the last year for us, unfortunately, I did a mistake on the race too, but this track is very good for a team. The car is flying, so I think we have a good chance to do a good win.
With good comes bad. You did spin in the last 10 minutes, and then there was that incident on pit lane. Can we hear your perspective from both of those moments?
Yeah, Power slowed down a lot, and I don't know what happened there. I think he went to the pits, but he slowed down too much. I have not NG Power. I don't know what Dixon doing. I don't know. He's confusing. I don't know what happened, but a crazy end of the session. It's only racing accidents. Nobody wants to receive that, but I think it's sort of about confusion.
Overall, a successful practice session for Agustin Canapino and the Juncos Hollinger Racing.
As well for Scott McLaughlin, ran the most laps and ends fastest. I know Knoxville is down the road, but at least everybody down here was having a good time about your save over there.
Yeah, I think that proves that, kids growing up, don't give up if you're spinning. Because I could really let it go, but I was going to the wall and I tried to drive it off the fence a little bit, and then, just get going. But ultimately, the XPEL Chevy feels good, but I just needed to try that outside line. But there's a lot of marbles up there, man, and it's a shame. I think we'll put on a good show, but it's just, as the run gets on, it's like glass up there, and it's nice to find out today than it is tomorrow.
Do you think that in the race conditions, if they're able to sweep it after yellows, will it be an option at all for a couple laps, or is it just too slick still right now?
It's still going to be an option, but it's going to be tough. So ultimately, we're going to qualify well and see where we're at. But this is IndyCar as well. If you have a tyre advantage and whatever, things can happen. The race can go off its head. So I've no doubt we'll put on an awesome show for everyone here, and but it's nice to experiment on a day like today.
Yeah, Scott McLaughlin, good learning day for the Thirsty Threes, Georgia.
Scott Dixon and Agustin Canapino. We obviously just got Agustin Canapino's take, but what did you want to say to him on the pit lane incident?
Just sorry. We're pitted right behind their sister car, and I thought it was Grosjean. He was going extremely slow, so I thought we were going to be able to swing by on the inside, and obviously his pit was right there. So it was all at slow speed, so nothing chaotic there, but we had a little touch.
Still ended 6th on the charts. What did you learn during that session?
The car's pretty good. We had a pretty rough qual sim, so there's definitely a lot of time left in the car, so that's good. And then we skipped out doing our second one as well, so we just went straight into a long one. So it's nice to be able to not worry too much about that on the front side. Normally in these sessions, you can be a bit frantic about trying to get a qual sim in, so the car rolled off with decent speed, and looked like Alex had a good run as well, same with Linus, so hopefully we're in a good spot.
Thanks for the time, Scott.
Cheers.